Konnichiwa, Japan. I'm back. From February 13th to February 16th, 2024, I returned to Japan. This trip's purpose was to do things I couldn't do during my first time in Japan. Although there were some new activities I was able to do, there were some past stuff I wanted to revisit, like the Art Nia Cafe. And for the main reason I went to Japan, the Gundam Factory in Yokohama. Let's get started. The first stop of my trip was the hotel I booked, Spa Blick Inn. It is a capsule hotel with a spa, as the name implies, although it is just a public bath with a sauna. The location of this hotel was really convenient. It was near Shinjuku and Shibuya, and there was a train station right by. They also provided a nice bathrobe which was very comfortable. And for my first meal in Japan, I had rice and shrimp tempura with udon noodles. And with that, I head to bed preparing for the big day. On day 1, I revisited the Square Enix HQ to finally dine at Art Nia, the Square Enix Cafe in Shinjuku. There were a few new Square Enix merch that were on sale that were not available during my first trip here. They had a few FF7 Rebirth merch and a Chain of Memories playing card deck that I was able to purchase for myself. And now for the new thing I was able to do in the cafe, eating some of their dishes from their menu. For my first dish, I had a slime-shaped pancake. This meal presented itself as if you were battling a slime from Dragon Quest. It is a thin chocolate bar designed to be the battle menu in the game, and of course, pancakes in the shape of the slimes with their faces. The pancakes were very sweet and fluffy, adding the ice cream and whipped cream made it even more sweet. Up next is the Earth Strawberry Parfait. This parfait had Earth's ribbon at the top of the ice cream, and there were strawberries around the edge of the cup. This dessert was my favorite because it was sweeter than the slime pancakes, which I don't mind. But what I find so odd about this parfait is that they had frosted flakes on the bottom. And finally, after my unfortunate timing the last time I was at Yokohama, we finally made it to the Gundam Factory. Since the Gundam in Yokohama was a limited time event, I was able to buy a special dock tower viewing ticket to see it up close from different angles. Enjoy. The special viewing was alright. I really wish I observed the Gundam from the top of the tower because I was able to get a good view of the Gundam and all of Yokohama. Next up, we got the Gundam Factory store. Unfortunately, I could not take any videos in the Gundam store because it was prohibited. However, I was able to take photos of all the Gunplas they had in stock. They also had merch from the Gundam anime The Witch from Mercury. They had a few shirts and character acrylic stands from the anime, but my favorite is the Witch from Mercury vinyl soundtrack that had Soleta and Miorine on the cover. One of the few things I bought at the store was a Gundam jacket. It was comfortable and had a cool Gundam design on the back. I stayed a few hours later until it got dark to see the Gundam lit up at night, and it was a really cool light show. And with that, my trip to the Gundam Factory is over. For my last stop, I headed over to Tower Records in Shibuya. I was curious to see what their music selection was. They had a few video game soundtracks like Persona 3 and 5. I also saw a few albums from my favorite J-pop band Yaosobi and a few others. They also had a whole booth for Bocchi the Rock's CDs and manga. I was really happy to see this because I am a fan of the anime. Starting my next day in Japan, I took a trip to Ikebukuro. I stopped by a Capcom store in one of the malls, but it turns out this store was a crane gaming capsule area. They did have a cafe here, and it was megaman.exe themed. They have food and drinks based off of the characters, and they have the usual merch, shirts, keychain, and acrylic stands. I didn't dine in there because I wasn't in the mood for cafe food. The Capcom crane game area was cool, but what is Kirby doing at a Capcom area? You would think that in a place with the Capcom logo would only have Capcom merch, but the machines were filled with other video game series and anime plushies. Up next is Super Potato in Ikebukuro. I sadly didn't go to the one in Akihabara and I wasn't allowed to record there. So here are a few photos I took of their video game selection. After Super Potato, I just wandered around Tokyo, stopping by a few marketplaces and other parts of Tokyo. Next, we return to Tokyo's Skytree Tower. The trees were wrapped around with winter lights, and the tower looked beautifully at night. For my last meal, I went back to where I first stayed in Tokyo, Asakusa, to eat some Japanese barbecue at Tasty Quick. Before I left Japan, I stopped by the Tokyo Tower. I got a really nice view of Tokyo. I sadly couldn't go all the way to the top because it was very windy at the time. At least I got to take some nice photos while I was there. And this concludes my first trip to Tokyo in 2024. So, I was planning to end the video here, but I went to Japan again at the end of March for a short trip to bring a friend over. So here's a quick recap of what we did in a day. We first flew to Japan. We arrived at Haneda Airport. Day 1, early morning, we went to Tokyo Tower. We went to Gundam Factory because my friend is a big Gundam fan. After Gundam Factory, we went to Grand Blue Kitchen Cafe, only to browse merch. I got Xenoblade merch. We went to Art Nia Cafe. They were having a promotion of FF7 Rebirth and they had Rebirth merch. You need a reservation to dine at the cafe. They got Rebirth themed food and drinks. The table has a Buster Sword. I got a chocolate parfait of the shape of the logo and a Cloud Citrus drink. My friend got a Tifa Raspberry drink. If you came to dine in, you get a free FF7 Rebirth poster. I got a Kingdom Hearts bag. And that concludes my one-day trip to Japan. This video was short because I wasn't in Japan for too long for both trips, and there were a few things I really wanted to do in Japan, like go to the Gundam Factory in Yokohama. Plus, I could only stay in Japan for so long because of my current job. I did visit Japan again during the month of May as a trip for myself, so be sure to look out for that video in the future. And maybe next time I can stay longer and show off more activities Japan has to offer. Until then, I'll see you guys later.